Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome to the Edge of Eternities Arena Open Day 1. The Arena Opens are your chance to win some cash prizes by playing some limited Magic on Arena. This time around, it's going to be Edge of Eternities, so we're playing Best of 1 Sealed for Day 1. Very high variance. We need to get 7 wins before only 3 match losses, and it costs 5,000 gems or 25,000 gold. So Day 1 is rough, but if you make it into Day 2, some pretty exciting stuff. You get to play some best of 3 drafts. If you make it through the first draft with 3 or more wins out of 4 rounds, then you get into the second draft where there are cash prizes on the line up to $2,000. So you need to get a 7-win run through best of 1 sealed. Then you need to win 2 drafts in a row. But if you can do that, that's where you get some cash prizes. We've gotten $1,000 a couple times in the past. It would be pretty cool to do it again, but I have not loved this set, so I'm not super experienced in it. I'm not as experienced in this set as I have been for the ones that I won in, and particularly the sealed has been really rough. I am not enjoying Best of 1 Edge of Eternity sealed, but you gotta do what you gotta do. We gotta play that to get to the potential drafts, and so we'll give it a shot here. We'll see how things go for us as we bust open these packs and see what we get to play with today. All right, some pretty great rares here, particularly the Extinguisher Battleship for a board wipe we can put into any deck that we play, and the Nova Hellkite for any red deck. This is one of Red's best rares in the whole set. There's a couple Pinnacle Emissaries. If we have a bunch of artifacts in blue and red, that could be a pretty fun spot to be, because that also means the Emissary Escort has stuff to buff itself up. So I can see blue-red artifacts as being the very simple, just auto-build kind of deck. There's a couple rares here that are completely unplayable. Infinite Guideline Station, and then the Endless Sands. It's really not worth making your mana base any worse, especially in this set in Sealed, because your mana base is going to be almost all basic lands, so running any colorless lands, they have to have a huge upside. This one isn't that high of an upside. You get to save your creatures from removal spells if you have a bunch of extra mana held up, so pretty narrow. Let's see what we got here. Check out our multicolored and our colorless. Starting off with the colorless, quite a few colorless artifacts. The Chrome Companion, Wormwall Sweeper, All Fate Scroll, and Pinnacle Killship. Those are all at least borderline playable in the right deck, so considering we have 2 of the blue-red artifact uncommon, that could be pretty interesting. There's no fixing outside of the scroll. We didn't get the land that taps for a mana of any color. We did get some good signpost uncommons, particularly the green-white uncommon and the green-blue uncommon are quite strong. So if those are strong colors, they could be really great places to be. But obviously, the biggest ideal thing would be having a bunch of good artifacts in blue and red. And I already see 4 Zookeeper Mechan in red. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go check all our colors individually and see what gets to build. Checking out the white, we've got 1 Radiant Strike for removal. The creature base is quite good, but only having 1 removal spell is certainly a bit of a downside. But 2 Night Luminaries are great. They're flexible if you have no other 2-drop in your opener. You just get a 1/1 out of them on turn 2. Over time, you're getting 3 creatures off 1 spell, which is pretty great. The Starport Securities have been overperformers for me in Sealed, so I like that. And then the Stalker is another sort of removal spell. It's going to be a removal spell for a little while. Obviously plays really poorly against removal from your opponent, but generally pretty impactful for its cost. It's been pretty good. It also has fun little synergies. If you're on turn 4, you can do something like warp out your 5-drop for 2 mana, and then warp this out so that you exile this just until end of turn, and then at end of turn when the Stalker leaves the battlefield, the Shepherd comes back permanently. So it's got some fun little synergies, and we actually have the big cards to synergize with it, with a Shepherd and a couple enhancers, some high mana value cards with cheap wards. So white's actually pretty good. When you look at the Stalker as another removal spell, as well as a good synergistic card with all this other warp, white looks like a very reasonable color. For our blue, we have a lot of fine artifacts, which is kind of exactly what we wanted with our rares. We have the Scan Ship, Double Mechan Navigator, Emissary Escort. If we run enough artifacts, the Mechan Shieldmate becomes playable as well. Some kind of blue-red hyper-aggressive artifact deck would be playable. I will say that's kind of the only thing that blue has going for it, is a high quantity of artifacts. So if it weren't for the fact that we had 2 blue-red rares that care about artifacts, this would be a pretty mediocre blue, but it's a ton of synergy to go with those 2 rares. That makes it actually pretty interesting. Moving on to black, we have decent removal, Depressurize, Oblivion, and Grav Kill. That's usually the best that black can offer you is some good removal, and in the sealed pool it looks no different. Black gives us some good removal, a couple decent filler creatures. The Titan probably plays well with all this removal, and then a couple bad filler creatures. Black looks perfectly reasonable. Nice support color, doesn't have anything particularly going for itself in terms of like a win condition or a game plan or anything. It's just a bunch of decent cards to pair up with anything. Red, high quantity of cards. You love to see that. We have the Nova Hellkite for one of the strongest rares in the whole sealed pool. We also have the Orbital Plunge for a removal spell. And when it comes to artifacts, we have 4 Mechan, a Moxite, a Turbo Drone. I'm liking the idea of the blue-red deck here, for sure. Moving on to green, a little bit of ramp with a couple Gene Pollinators. 1 Lander token here with the Curiosity. There's also a Scoutlander and a Wayfarer for ramp. So green is just great ramp. Not much for interaction or any like great creatures to ramp into. But pair this with a color that has really good top end, and we could really get there quickly. That said, I don't think there is another color with particularly good top end. There's no huge high mana value spells in this entire sealed pool. Blue's curve stops at 4. White's curve stops at 5, and it's just a bunch of really aggressive creatures. I guess technically Enhancer, but it's not like really good top end. Black's curve stops at 5. Red's curve stops at 5. Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of good ramp in green and not much to ramp into. We could do it for fixing and help us ramp into the Battleship, but I think Battleship's good enough. You don't really need that much ramp synergy to go with it. I'm going to go for blue-red spells. I really like artifact-focused decks. This gives us access to some of our strongest rares with the Hellkite. With the amount of ramp we have between 4 Zookeeper Mechan, even if I don't run the All Fates scroll, I think it's reasonable to run Battleship in here, even if we are a more aggressive strategy. We also have some Lander tokens between Terra Pact, Intimidator, and Orbital Plunge, potentially. I think blue-red artifacts could be a fun spot to be here, and I'm going to roll with it. At the very least, I'll have the maximum amount of fun possible in this run by playing a pretty cool archetype. So let's see, 51 cards here. What do we want to cut? I'm going to cut the All Fate scroll and just go for the 4 Mechan here. And cut some of the most filler creatures. I'm going to cut the Elemental. Just keep all the artifact synergy stuff there. Triple Technician's probably a lot. 11 cuts is so much. This seems really good with the emissaries. Buff all those drone tokens. Yeah, I like the leader, the team leader a lot. We are really getting damage in early. Just cut the top end? How crazy is that? I've got 4 Mechan. I have 4 Mechan and 2 Lander tokens. They feel worth it. 19 creatures. Got a few more creatures still. Okay, let's get rid of Chrome Companion for sure. See, the problem is a lot of the cards that I would be cutting here, a lot of the most filler stuff we have are like the artifact cards, and I think that double emissary is really pulling us towards those being just much better than normal. I mean, I guess I have to cut 6 more cards. I could just like cut 2 of the Mechans and then cut the big stuff. Just full speed ahead here. Actually seems pretty reasonable. Go land, put in another early card again. Maybe even a Mechan back in. Mechan's got to be better than Chrome Companion, even if we are pretty aggressive. Probably better than Wormwall Sweeper too. And there's 15 artifact spells in here. This looks fun, and this looks pretty legit. Let's just get into this run, shall we? We've got an even split 13-13. We'll just go for an 8-8 split then on both the colors. Yeah, 4 red 2 drops, 5 blue 2 drops. We'll keep the mana base completely even. I'll take a double check through the rest of the sealed pool. There's definitely other builds that I think will be somewhat comparable, but nothing that has as explosive of like good draws as this one with the double emissary and the Hellkite. It's the most explosive on its good days. But we could run some kind of more consistent like green-white deck or something, just because our white's very good. And our green just gets all that fixing stuff, and then we play the battleship in that deck because we're ramping towards it real consistently. And then we play the Halia in green-white. I feel like some kind of green-white, maybe splash a little red or something, could be the alternate strategy. But I'm pretty happy with this one. I think it's going to be comparably powerful, and yeah, we will call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, see how far we take it. Very awkward opening hand for us. At least we're on the draw to make us more likely to draw the island sooner. But if we just cast Intimidator and they make it a 4-3, we're going to lose this game without drawing the island naturally. We also have our only double blue spell in this hand. There is a massive amount of risk to this, and our opponent also took a mulligan, so we'll be on even amounts of cards if I take one. So I don't think it's worth the risk here to stay that far in the card advantage lead. Let's just take the mulligan and get a safer opener. And here we have a safer opener. Not a particularly exciting one, but a safe one. I think with the Mechan in the hand, I can ditch a land here. Well, was that an island? Okay, at least it wasn't an island. If that was an island, I would have been real sad to draw the double blue 3-mana spell, because it's like, well, just mulliganing myself out of exactly that. Playing against green-red, there's the Blooming Stinger to start things off. Let's lead with the Mechan Shieldmate, since it's big enough to trade into that and get it off the board to make our bigger cards, like our probably 3-4 and our 3-3, potentially survive. So our opponent's got great ramp to start things off with Larval Scoutlander, which is really scary because it's also great fixing for any bombs in their sealed pool. And they're just going to work on stationing the Scoutlander. Do miss the land drop here, so we will definitely play the Mana Dork and send in with Shieldmate. I was probably greedy to hold that mana there. We could have ditched Mechan, probably. The weakest card in hand. But we've also drawn 3 spells in a row. Could have just as easily drawn 3 lands in a row and been bummed out. Alright, that Sky Warden is going to hold us off. And get those spacecraft stationed pretty quickly. Yeah. This is certainly how aggro loses. If you don't get the pressure on your opponent early, this set has a lot of 2-for-1 spacecraft that will come down, give you good value immediately, and then also become a creature. So we're just getting like 4-for-1 here between these 2 spacecraft. Unlikely to hit them again for a while. That said, they did tap out, so we do get to hit them here. For 6? Sure. Got them down to 8 now, which is something. Gets that scan ship close to a 2-turn kill. Siege Ship Agrarian shows up. That is incredible with any spacecraft. Locking in those lander tokens to keep getting the counters on it. Yeah, our deck has the potential for the good curve out blowouts, but our opponents played a lot of good value plays here. And they've been on the play, and we've been stumbling on mana, so we have not been able to pressure them. It's like the mulligan really did not work out. Probably too greedy here. Although I think even with the extra land, they could be pretty stable. They just wouldn't have them fully stationed quite yet. Man, the lack of double blue is disgusting for this hand. We have equal numbers of red and blue spells, and equal numbers of red and blue lands, but we've drawn way more red lands than blue lands, and way more blue spells than blue lands. Just exactly incorrect draws. Probably should have tapped out for Scan Ship before playing that land in case I hit the blue land. I could play that for land for turn. I didn't hit the land anyway, so that punt doesn't matter. Discard the double blue card. Still have a tiny shot with Pinnacle Emissary, honestly. 17, so I don't have a very long time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 to fully station it. Kind of need to be blocking. I don't really want to warp this right now, because I want to warp it next turn before I play a bunch of spells. Guess I'm not going to block with Mechan. So I can station with Mechan. Would be more towards Scanship if I station with the Warped Emissary, but I want the Warped Emissary for the drones next turn. Okay, and then the strongest mythic in the entire format. Best of one sealed called, and it said we definitely lose this game. Again, we could have gone for a much less risky mulligan. That mulligan really came back to bite us, and I think it was probably wrong with the information we had at the time. I mean, Mechan, Red Tiger Mechan is just not that good. We should have kept a more consistent hand, but even if we did, they had all the tools to have a stable board by the time we drew this Emissary, and by the time we drew this Emissary, even if we mulligan differently, they have an Ouroboros down and kill me with that. So I don't think this game was winnable no matter what, although it is very important to keep in mind that our mulligan decision was definitely wrong, and we will mulligan differently in the future if it matters. Let's head into game number 2. Well, Arena's going to hit us up with those awkward mulligans. 2 games in a row. We had the mull to 6 last game, and here we go again. That is not a keepable opener for an aggro deck. And we're going to be stuck on a 2-lander again. This time, not of our own volition. We just can't afford to go down to 5 here, I think. We've got both of our colors and 1 mana dork to get us started. Unfortunately, we're on the draw again as well, which slows down our aggression. Puts less pressure on our opponent. There's a shield mate from them. That could be blue-black. Artifact aggro. Decode transmissions, draw a couple cards, lose a couple life. Play one of the 4 drops for mana efficiency. I don't think I play Landseeker here. Which is awkward because Team Leader can't attack well, but Landseeker can. But if I play Landseeker, I don't get to crack the lander token unless I top deck a land next turn, which I can't reliably do. And if I don't crack the land token with Landseeker, then it's gone forever. So I don't want to play the Landseeker without cracking the lander. Well, so for game 1, we lost to the strongest mythic rare, the strongest card period in the entire set in terms of sealed win rate. For game 2, this is the strongest rare, the strongest non-mythic in the entire set by win rate. I have the plunge, which is great, but that is wild. Hopefully that is not an omen for how things are going to go in this Arena Open, but we'll find out soon enough. Okay. We have the 5 mana now to play a 3-drop and crack a lander. Let's go for the Pinnacle Emissary. Set that up for the future. Their shield mate is putting in some work here, holding off the team leader. There's the grav kill, fair enough. Just gonna pass turn. They're gonna have the blue-black rare that also mills us a bunch. They opened the Magical Christmas Land sealed pool. The best rare in the whole set, and some board wipes and stuff. Okay, Scanship looks pretty great now. We're on a board where I don't want to be attacking with team leader anyway. Good stuff. I can play the drone. Get the scan ship mostly stationed. Consult the star charts. That is another incredible rare. They look at the top 6, put 2 of them into their hand and the rest on bottom. Great instant speed card draw. And then there's the best uncommon Sibsig Appraiser. This graduated. It is now Code Cracker Hound. They get to do it twice. For a 3-for-1. They have a 2-1 on the board and they draw 2 cards out of the top 4 over time. Dubious Delicacy, blow up the team leader. Blow up the turbo drone, okay. You are more than welcome to kill that one. Cloud Sculpt Technician is the draw. They're still spending removal spells, so I'm not gonna massively play around a board wipe here, but I'm still not gonna play any more creatures this turn. I'm just gonna crack this lander with that extra mana. I think Mechan for Shieldmate is fine. Or Zookeeper for Shieldmate, they're both Mechans. To get it out of the way for the other 3 toughness creatures here. I mean, if they have the board wipe, we're kind of doomed either way, because I only have 2 cards left anyway. Okay. Code Cracker Hound is back. When I say the board wipe, I mean there's 3 different ones they could have in their color pair. That I can think of. There's probably a 4th. Showing that instant speed removal here. It's a lot of damage on board. Grav kill, sure. So we deal 5 or 9 here. Deal 5 and a chump block from our opponent. They have undone the chump. They do not want to kill the puppy. Flying threat seems good. Let's go for the flying threat and the Mechan. And the Mechan gives us the ability to buff anybody, to make anyone single-handedly lethal, if evasion is going to be enough. We have 1 Navigator. I should probably just play everything to the board, because honestly, playing around the board wipe here by keeping 1 Navigator in hand is like... So if they board wipe me, they have 5 cards left in hand, and I have 1, 2, 1. I almost definitely still just lose, so it's probably better to just play that Navigator at that point anyway. Alright, could not beat Ouroboros, but for game number 2, we did beat Elegy Acolyte because we had removal immediately. So, very lucky game there. We are 1-1 heading into game 3. Here we are for game number 3. We've done it. We have drawn an opening hand. We don't have to mulligan. Let's get this rolling. Start with the 3-power beat stick because I have 15 artifacts in this deck. So it's just straight up 2-mana 3/2 at this rate. I could start with the Mechan to ramp into scan ship early, but I don't care about scan ship getting out early because it's a big late game flyer. I want to get my early damage in if I can. Dock Worker Drone, that trade is good for me. If we kill it before they get another creature on their board. Can't modulation during their turn. Do I want to draw a card that badly? Not really. Got the scan ship for a good play next turn against anything they do. Play an ace, play a swamp, send in. Unravel. Could tap, draw a card, play Mechan. I can't hold up Unravel here and attack with Mechan Shieldmate, because I need to play another artifact to do that. Let's just go Scanship. I think that's pretty reasonable. Shieldmate for Squadron Ace is a fine trade too. If I keep the Mountain, I can play Unravel, holding up Intimidator or Modulation. Or I can play Intimidator, holding up Unravel or Modulation. Either way around. I think that's good. I guess I should draw a card, discard a card here, since I'm not sending in the Navigator anyway. Okay, we will ditch that. Island. They might take the trade here to get rid of a 3-power creature, now that they know we have Spacecraft. But they did not take the trade, they're down to 14. If they have any of the big lifelinkers, it's going to be a big issue. There's the rare, the Elegy Acolyte we just played against, or Elegy Acolyte. And then there's the uncommon. It's like 5 mana, Sir something. Buffs the entire board with ++0 and Death Touch when you play it and when you attack with it. And it's like a big lifelinker by itself, a 4/4 or 5/4 or something. Radiant Strike the 2/1. Sure. Stops him from drawing and discarding every turn, but that's okay. Here's Terror Pact Intimidator, which I'm happy with either way. Suppose I would prefer the ++1 counters. Dang. Well, at least Shieldmate gets to swing then. It's gonna be a close game right now. It's currently a close race, 14-14. I've got a half-stationed Scanship that I can finish stationing next turn. Got a counterspell up if they play anything scary. If they play something mid, I can tap it and draw a card, and if they play something that completely doesn't matter, I can just crack Lander. Faller's Faithful. Sack the drone, draw 2. It's going to be their play here. Good enough to counter? I don't think that's good enough to counter. Find Cloud Sculpt Technician, that's a nice one. It is not an artifact, so I can't station the Scanship with Intimidator and Technician. I have to use the Shieldmate. I mean, I could station it with Intimidator and Technician, but then Shieldmate wouldn't be attacking. For 5 mana in black and white, there are 2 different board wipes they can have access to. They need 8 mana for the colorless one. Prospector and Monoist. Are they dead? 6 damage in the sky, 2 on... If I draw an artifact, they're dead. I have 2 draw steps. Oh, if they have Focus Fire, they win off that. That's really efficient. 1 mana, deal a million here. How expensive is my most expensive card in this deck? My most expensive card is 5 mana. But I might have to double spell next turn. I could like crack a lander now and then 1 mana modulation draw a card next turn. Just to thin a land out and make it less likely to just draw 2 lands here, but I think it's more likely I end up like drawing 2 spells I need to cast. Land. Mechan. That is not enough for lethal. Oh wait, no, it is enough. It's an artifact. I was literally talking about how I needed to draw an artifact for lethal, and then I did draw it, and I'm like, wait, that's not enough. It is enough. They don't have Focus Fire. They go ahead and scoop, so we don't have to consider if we should play around Focus Fire or not. They make it nice and simple for us, and that is 2 and 1 heading into game 4. All right, here we are for game number 4. This is a fine opening hand for our aggressive deck. Sadly, we are back to being on the draw, though, which is not as fine. Station Monitor is a terrifying turn 2 play from blue-white. Probably their strongest turn 2 play. Let's go for the Escort. It's a 3/4 on turn 3 off of Turbo Drone. Okay, Flight Deck Coordinator. Am I okay with just getting Station Monitor off this board? I don't think it'd be crazy to just go for that trade here. It's not great, though. And then I don't have blocks up. For the 3/3. I'd still have a block up for the 2/2. Banishing Light. A tragedy. We're finding a lot of lands. Let's start digging through them then with Navigator. Maybe our opponent's hand is just really bad at double spelling and they'll just take the trade. It's possible. God. I actually kind of hope they don't at this point. Dock Worker Drone. Pass. If Mechan ends up trading off, it's a lot better to trade off for only 2 mana than 4. Plus, this makes sure that I can play artifacts 2 turns in a row for Shieldmate. I don't know how I was expecting to draw more than one non-land card off of one Navigator trigger, but I drew it and then saw 3 lands and a spell and was still disappointed. But what can you do? It found a spell, at least. Counter on the monitor, spread their stuff out. Alright, we're basically playing off the top because we've hit 8 lands this early in an aggro deck. That's really half our lands. We're on 16. Another Banishing Light. There goes Turbo Drone, probably. Yep. Yeah, the gain life on the crackback is bad for me. Super late on Ravel. But our opponent's really stuck on mana. They've got the opposite thing going on here, so it should be decent. If I send both, they just get to crack back and gain 2 again, and we're not winning the race. I think I have to hold. I should hold a Shieldmate back because it's a way more expendable blocker. I keep calling all 3 of these cards Mechan, and they're 3 different Mechans. There's a 4th different Mechan here with Mechan Navigator. Ooh, counter that draw card. That was lucky. So lucky I had to do weird ton things. Dock Worker Drone, that's the double spell for Station Monitor, so still a great turn for our opponent. We finally found interaction for Station Monitor. That's the biggest issue with our color pair here, is that there's like no removal in it. But here it is. And we've then 2 more lands out of the deck because we drew 1 and now we'll crack 1. Go, Mechan, go. Honored Knight Captain for 2 1/1s. All the blockers on the ground. We find our Hellkite, or one of our rares that spits out 1/1 flyers. Those will be very good. Although, if we find the rares that spit out 1/1 flyers, since we're out of spells right now, we need to draw another artifact after that. But honestly, like a single 1/1 flyer would get us there at this rate. I forgot about Melded Moxite. I'm so dumb. I was playing all my lands to this board because I'm like, I got such an expensive activated ability here, but I forgot we had a Moxite in here. I don't play enough red in this set. Oh, that's hard punished for playing that land out earlier. Yeah, that'll do it. Rough. That would be so good here. Chrome Companion. And the hard light containment. Jeez Louise. Double banishing light, hard light containment. If I fully station a scan ship and give it +4/+0 in the same turn, that's a one-shot kill. I can modulation the one flying blocker for that to get there. Well, no, Chrome Companion could gain 1 here. This isn't going to work out quite. Five power for the stationing. Yeah, and they're going to gain from Coordinator too. Shoot. So if I want Scan Ship to be fully stationed next turn, I have to station at least 3 right now to station 5 next turn. Then I need to spend 7 to give it +4/+0 and 1 to tap their blocker. I don't think this is quite going to work out, but I do think it was our best bets, rather than going for long game Moxite stuff. No, I think I was wrong on this one. Shoot. This was certainly a less impactful misplay than not holding the extra land for Moxite. I think if we had the extra land for Moxite, like the turn we drew it, probably do win this game like right on time. Man, it sucks. The gain 2 is going to be exactly enough. We're going to be 1 damage off from the kill. Wild. Is there any way to sneak 1 more damage in? Absolutely not. There's a million blockers over there. Just a single point of life, legitimately. Yeah, we definitely would have won if we had Moxited right. Oh my god, a single point of damage? A single point of damage? No shot? We call that a single point of damage, baby. Oh, that's ridiculous. We did not deserve that victory there. Very, very lucky ending. Again, a couple minor misplays. The big one for sure. We need to start holding extra land when we're flooding out in case we top deck a Melded Moxite or Mechan Navigator. We have both of those cards in this deck, so that was not playing the late game outright. This is a deck that even if you have like a 7-mana mana sink on the board, you should probably keep at least 1 extra land in the hand in the late game. Wow. That was insane. The modulation was a misplay because I didn't stack up into exactly quite enough damage quite quickly enough, but then they still just played it out like that, so... Well, it didn't matter how they played it out because I top decked into team leader. So I guess the modulation misplay actually kind of just worked for us to where even if they held the flying blocker back, then the scan ship would still kill them off of modulation tap. So that not so much. It was really just we need to hold lands in the late game. Either way, great run now so far. We are 3-1 heading into game number 5. Guaranteed at least a 50 record out of a really fun deck, an archetype you don't get to play around with too much in a set, especially in sealed. Okay, this is an awkward keep. We are an aggro deck, and this deck doesn't do anything until turn 4. But we have the arguably strongest card in the entire deck in the opening hand, so I think I have to keep it for raw power. We have a ton of 2-mana spells in this deck, as you've seen from the mana curve. It's just a stack of 2-drops, though, so we could draw pretty well on average, and we did. We drew the Zookeeper Mechan, so we have a turn 2 play, and that ramps into the Landseeker, and then we get the Hellkite early, and we just go crazy here. Alright, Team Leader is more damage early, and that is what I'm all about here. Just flooding the board with instant damage to our opponent as quickly as possible. They played a great rare here. This is going to give their whole board +1/+1, basically no matter what creature they play this turn. And then if it sticks around long enough, it becomes a big flying lifelinker, which is really hard to outrace. But once it becomes that, we could Cryo Shatter it. Sadly, we can't Cryo Shatter just like an artifact. We have to wait till it's a creature. But even if I could, it would still get to use its ability. Stops it from tapping or damaging. Yep, Zealot works. Zealot makes their whole board +1/+1. But let's see how they survive this amount of damage. Hopefully they just don't. Let's have their life total in one swing. Whee! They're down to 11. The 4 Zookeeper Mechan Hellkite deck is kind of sick. I think I cut some Zookeeper Mechan stuff. I cut one of them. We're still playing 3. Still playing 3. Which I think is a nice middle ground for this deck. Ooh, Psionicist Banishing Light. What an incredible turn. Psionicist is just a busted card, period. It's a Soul Ring on a stick. 3 mana, 2/4. Here's my Soul Ring. I get 2 mana every turn. Absolutely gnarly stuff from our opponent. If they just played only Banishing Light, like, we'd be so fine, but the fact that Psionicist lets them play another creature and a Banishing Light in one turn to make them super stable here, I think we have a very real chance of losing this game now, when it looked the complete opposite a turn ago. I don't think I can afford to Cryo Shatter the Psionicist when the Lumen class frigate is going to be a flying lifelinker very soon. If they play any other creature, they're already stationing for 3. That puts it to 10, so even a 1/1 would finish the station. I can't Cryo Shatter Psionicist then. I need to just play Landseeker Mechan Pass. Let them fully station, and then Cryo Shatter the fully stationed frigate, which still gives the whole board +1/+1, but then they don't get to use it in combat anymore without it dying. Dockworker Drone, that's the full station on the frigate while still holding a blocker up. Star Breach, well, yeah, they overkill station that frigate now. 5/5 Vigilance attack in here too. This is super, super bad. Psionicist going ham again, make that whale a 1-mana warp. Just allows them to play a 2-drop as well. Alright, they're going to gain some life here and monumentally win the race. Probably let them kill the team leader here. Team leader or Landseeker. If their last card is like a focus fire, then this is going to be brutal. I think I'm under too much pressure to play around it, though. Playing around it would just be not blocking at all. I'm going to 7. Because if I triple block and then they have focus fire, it's still quite bad for me. They still kill both my 4/3s, and then I just have a couple Mechans. I kind of lose to focus fire no matter what. Because also playing around and not blocking is like, okay, then it goes to my turn, I attack with Landseeker, and Landseeker dies. So if they have Focus Fire, we lose, period. So we'll not play around it, we'll just... Let's keep the Menacer here. Yep, I straight up can't beat that. What are you gonna do? Good cards are good. This was just an incredible game for our opponent. We are still on lands, sadly. I forgot that that lander token was going to die, but it doesn't matter. So we are dead in 2 swings, unless we draw perfectly. And even now, I have to make a really bad block. This block is horrible, but it's all I got. Play that chump chump, go to 3, I technically buy another turn. No, I do not. Brutal game of Magic there. We had a really explosive start, but our opponent had the cheap removal to counteract it, as well as their own really cheap rare, and the Psionicist just being full-on Soul Ring this game, giving them like probably at least 5 mana throughout the game with the amount of times they double spelled. I mean, really, the stable turn was Psionicist plus Banishing Light in 1 turn because of Psionicist's ability. It was really, really gross. And the Frigate, again, being the kind of card that still has a super relevant ability even through a Cryo Shatter, was extra rough for us. Getting these things up to 5 toughness against all our 4 power creatures. Super nasty stuff from our opponent's deck. We just got outclassed quite a bit in the card quality on our draws there. I mean, I guess we didn't get outclassed that high in card quality, because we had a Nova Hellkite, which is kind of equivalent to their Frigate, but they had a bunch of removal, which we just don't have in this sealed pool. All right, Force Mulligans are fun. We're back to that. Go down to 6 cards here. We are on the play, at least, and we've got Mechan for turn 4 Hellkite again. That's pretty sick. I'll lean into that and get rid of Mechan's Shieldmate. Keep the Zookeeper Mechan. I do need to specify names. I just keep saying I have Mechan. Yet again. No matter how many times I bring it up, I'm going to keep forgetting. I need to play the Zookeeper Mechan now to be able to Warp Hellkite and then full cast it the turn after. If I want to Warp Hellkite next turn, and I play Emissary now, that means I won't have Mechan on turn 4. Oh, wow, that's going to be so good. It's going to be absolutely gross. Get to kill Ilvoy Operative off the Warp. Hum nom 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 nom. Oh no, there's Psionicist again. Here's the Grav kill. Yep. Thank goodness they don't get the double spell with it, at least. They didn't go like 2 mana creature and then Grav kill. Pinnacle Emissary has some pretty high upside. I think I want to cast Pinnacle Emissary and hold on to the Light Jammer just to make sure that sticks around, because I think that's a pretty guaranteed way to win this game over a long course of time if I just keep the hexproof for it. Ooh, Starforge is so good if this game goes too much longer. Every turn that they are flooded out, they just get to spit out a 2/2 robot every turn, even if they have no cards in their hand. Starforge is an excellent land, excellent rare. Grav Pack Monoist, so they can double spell and play a Grav Kill for 2. Any 4-drop for 2. They go to pass the turn, sure. 5 mana total. I need 2 up for the Light Jammer at all times, so we can play the Turbo Drone and hold up the Light Jammer, but not anything else here. Sure. We're just going to spam drones until we can send in like 5 drones 2 turns in a row for lethal flying damage. I guess, once again, I need to specify I have a turbo drone on this board. I mean the flying 1/1 drones. If I top deck a land off scan ship, I could jammer right now. And then scan ship and escort next turn. But then I don't have a jammer anymore. And they have a 3/5 blocker, so it's not like the drones are getting in immediately anyway. We can play it slow. Mechan Navigator to go with scan ship is pretty nice. It is, however, not a land. Makes things a little awkward again. Scan ship being able to attack as a 5/5 flyer, if I turbo drone it, is pretty appealing. Makes me a little interested in dumping that out right now and just praying for any basic in the top 2. I get a little greedy on this one. Drop out the scan ship. Perfect. Get rid of the fleshy creature. Their only creature on the ground is a 2/4, so can just work on the scan ship here. We can definitely finish it off next turn. At 18, I don't think I care about their crackback right now. Let's just get it to where I just finish it with a single summoning sick drone token. Timeline color for a haster. Pinnacle kill ship. There's the light jammer that's been pretty obvious. I think they've been playing around it potentially earlier. At this point, it's like, well, you gotta do something. They're at 9 life, facing a whole lot of stuff over here if they send in too aggressively. And so they're just going to scoop them up. They are over it, and we are at 4 wins in now. I think we're on only 1 loss so far. I hope we're on only 1 loss so far. No, we are on 2 losses, sadly. All right. 4-2 it is, heading into game number 7. If we can win at least 1 more game, we'll get some of our gems back. No, but no matter what happens from here, we got a positive win rate with a pretty unconventional deck. Or at the very least, one of the weaker archetypes, again, particularly for sealed. Sadly, we are on the draw. Always going to be a super bad time for this deck. But we've got one of our emissaries again with the light jammer. Tenderfoot from our opponent. Turn 2. Here's Shieldmate for it. Over Cryo Shatter. And it keeps getting counters, and then it's an issue for forever. I think I still lead with Shieldmate. And the next turn I can go like Warp Warp. Warp Warp. And also attack with the Shieldmate. Nice early Mock Sight from our opponent. Set up their draws. Play Mountain and pass through. It is time to Warp Warp. Whee! There's the trade into the Tenderfoot. Only other artifact in our hand is the Light Jammer, so we just wait till 5 mana, I think, to go Emissary and Light Jammer. Oh wait, no, I've got the 4 mana 3/3. What am I talking about? We might play Emissary and Cryo Shatter in the same turn if they play something good to kill. I died on my own rare because they drew it, but I didn't. Absolute worst feeling ever. I can win with that card too if I draw it. I'm gonna take another 4 to the face, guaranteed. Probably like Landseeker now and then go Emissary, Cryo Shadow the turn after this. At least they get a counter attack for their 4 damage swing to my face. Terra Botanist. And they're just going to hold off on the Hellkite and save that for when we make another drone token later. Just be as rude as possible with it. So they're just going to get a tapped 2/2 here. So I do get to send in Landseeker. Then I have a 3/3 blocker up for their 2/3 or their 2/2 off the mock site. It's going to look suspicious because I'm letting the lander die, but I punted and accidentally let it die in a previous game, so maybe it's just that. Don't worry about it, opponent. I just forgot. I simply forgot. Well, there goes the drone, but I can just let Emissary die. So now they definitely just play Hellkite, kill the drone. We shatter the Hellkite. I mean, if they have something better to play than Nova Hellkite here, we are in a world of hurt. Because it's a pretty good play on this board. They do have to worry about us having 8 power on the crackback, I guess, but it's super good here. Yep, play it, send it in. Alright, let's go, Pinnacle Emissary. You are my awesome friend, and I appreciate you. Kaboom! Quite a turn. I'm about to die on the crackback. They're going to go to 3 rather than chump anything. I'm at 12 life. They have 2 power on this board. I'm not going to die here. Vault Guard Trooper. And then the removal for Mechan. Okay. So they are turtled up. They are taking no damage next turn. Well, I guess because the Menace. Oh, wait, no, right. They can kill the 4/5. Ew. That's a big oof. So because the Menace. Double block like this, I guess? Trump there. Or double block like this. Trump there. They still take 2. I mean, Memorial Team Leader is really good here. Is there a way to get lethal off Memorial Team Leader? There isn't. If I warp the leader in and also equip Light Jammer to the flyer, everybody is at least 3 power. These are lethal. So they have to double block the Menace and block the Mechan. Take 3, go to 1 life. But then they still... not dead yet. What if I go Technician Warp Leader instead of playing the Light Jammer? Yeah, if I warp the leader, then they have to block these 2 either way. Like, this just gets through, period, if I warp leader. So I can warp leader and also play another creature. That forces Hellkite to be dead, then they don't have any reach or flying anymore. Yeah. So warp team leader. They have to let me kill Hellkite and Terra Botanist and go to 2. And they're at 2 life against 2 lethal flyers. Because the 1/1 is lethal off a Memorial Team Leader or the Light Jammer, and the Technician's just going to be 2 power up front. For board wipes, there's an 8 mana colorless one, a 7 mana one that requires double red, double black. So they could go swamp and then the 7 mana board wipe and we cry a little. But that one, I don't think wins them the game here. It steals all even or odd mana values and destroys everything else. So they have an odd on their board, so if they steal all odds and blow everything else up, they hit us for 7, and we're left with a single 2/4, but the single 2/4 kills them. Okay, let's play the team leader and try to kill them in the sky, because then if they have the removal for the drone token, then we're still playing to the board towards a future turn. Okay. They don't have the removal for the team leader or the drone token there, and that is 5 and 2. We officially made it to where we're getting some of our entry fee back, but because these events are so top loaded, because those prizes can get so huge in day 2 draft number 2, you don't get your entry fee back unless you get the full 7-win run and qualify for day 2. So we're still very far not in the money, but a very positive record as we head into game number 8. Here we are for game number 8. Out of all the monocolored hands we've seen so far, this is the one I want to keep the most. We have Navigator to do some digging, and we have a 1/2/3 curve out mono blue alone. We also have Warp off of just blue to get maybe a 1/1 flyer somewhere here. There's definitely risk to this, but I've done a lot of mulliganing today. I am going to hope that this one works out for us. We'll see. Mecha Navigator is the big draw here. We found the mountain, even if Navigator dies. Playing against Rakdos. Red-black shenanigans, lots of ways they could blow up Navigator immediately. But they don't. They draw a couple cards and lose a couple life. Love to see that when we're a nice aggressive deck like this. So I actually don't have any other artifacts to play in the hand currently, so it might not be crazy to lead with the Technician to play around removal. I think I have enough blue spells in this hand. I want to be able to like play Cryo Shatter and also Unravel. So I'm going to ditch the second red. I mean, Emissary is more immediate damage, but I'm also much sadder about it dying to something. It's only 1 more immediate damage. I guess the other thing about it is it also makes a lot of my draws much better if I have an Emissary on board right now than if I play like Technician and draw some 2-mana artifact creature. If I play the Emissary now any artifact I draw is a much better draw. Absolutely disgusting card there. 0-point ballad it is. Here's the team leader for maximum power onto this board. Post board wipe. You speak of the devil, you say its name enough times, eventually they're gonna board. There are about 5,000 board wipes in the set. It's real hard for the aggro decks to beat them, so we are not having fun right now. Our opponent is 6 cards up here, still. Double spell 2/2 drops next turn. I think I ditch the bonus land. Get Scan Ship mostly stationed next turn off of Shieldmate and Escort. If we just led with Technician, we'd have a way better board here, which is quite disappointing. So because I'm not going to fully station the Scan Ship either way, is it better to just get the Technician out of the way right now, since it's a little more expensive? Or is it better to Cryo Shatter for the turn? Cryo Shatter the color so it dies when they attack. Because they're going to crack Delicacy and draw a card. I mean, I can still Cryo Shatter it later when I'm actually sending an attack in. I think I can let the color chill. Yeah, it's close. I guess I'll deal with it here. It is a flyer. I'm gonna have to deal with it later. Alright, now a tiny little poke will station the scan ship. A squirrel token could station this spacecraft. Barrier Beetle's so fun! Goodbye, Unravel. And that's especially rough after getting board wiped. I'm already down 1,000,000 cards. Orbital Plunge puts an artifact token on this board and lets me attack with Shieldmate, but if I play Orbital Plunge, then I have to station a scan ship with Shieldmate anyway, because I don't have a creature for that. Alright, let's just pray they're not the double board wipe deck. That would be rough. If they're not double board wipe, we got a shot here. It's a lot of damage. Go to 5. It's feeling like double board wipe. Well, no, if they had the board wipe, they chump with Escort. Woo! Stuck off a third color, maybe? Big, beefy scan ship for the win. Also Escort, 2 mana, 4/4. I was absolutely shook, as you could tell from the turn they played 0-point ballot. I'm like, oh, my plan has gone. Luckily, I mean, they had so many cards in hand. That's always absolutely terrifying, but I guess just not enough relevant cards. Maybe like 1 removal spell or something, and that's just not enough to survive here. I mean, maybe they had all the removal they needed, they just don't have the mana for it. Like, they've got... If they had 7 Grav Kill here, they would lose, because they could Grav Kill Scan Ship, and then they block the 4/4 take 5 if I play any artifact, yeah. Did not think that we were going to get to keep playing this deck, but we do get to keep playing this deck. It, in fact, has made it all the way to the final boss. We're playing the maximum amount of games possible with this deck at 6-2. Heading into game number 9. This will be the final game of Magic, win or lose. Let's see if we can't top it off with a 7-win run here. All right, here we are on the play. Very exciting words for this final game of Magic. We have the Navigator, warp the Hellkite, and then obviously play the Hellkite on turn 5. So here's our turn 2, our turn 3, our turn 4, and our turn 5 play if we hit the lands, and Navigator, if they don't have cheap removal, is our way to dig through the deck and make sure that we hit the lands. We've got the Cryo Shatter if they put something in the way, maybe even the Hellkite if they play like a Virus Beetle. And Zookeeper Mechan's exciting. For sure. If I lead with Zookeeper Mechan, I get to warp Hellkite on 3 and then just hard cast it on turn 4. Which is exciting, but I think our current curve's already pretty good. Hit for 1 less damage, and I'm not digging that way initially. I think I still have to go for turn 4 full-on Hellkite. It's just so good. Mono black from our opponent so far. Let's go! Actually love to see Virus Beetle this game. It's close between Red Tiger Mechan and Mechan Navigator, but I'm certainly keeping the Cryo Shatter. And I cannot ditch the land. I'm looking to draw 1 more. I'm going to drop the Navigator. I think we're going to get so much early damage output off of Hellkite that just the haste is very valuable. That's the land we needed. We are locked in for Hellkite next turn. It's the hard cast. And And then since we're on the play, if their best removal is Grav Kill for like 4 mana, we get the hit with Hellkite before they kill it. We hit them, they untap, then they kill it by tapping out and having no other mana untapped. Comet Crawler for a Lifelinker. Ooh. I don't like seeing that in the slightest. If I don't play Hellkite now, then it might just die to a Grav Kill the turn I play it. But that would stop me from dealing 4 with the Hellkite later. This Comet Crawler with its life gain could crack back and gain 2 to 4. Basically like the same amount of life of this Crawler being an issue. I don't know. I'm gonna go Cryo Shatter and Mechan here. Red Tiger Mechan, that is, if anybody's just listening and not watching. The 3/3 haste. This video has to be a terrible experience to anybody that is just listening. Because Mechan, Navigator, Zookeeper Mechan, Red Tiger Mechan, every single time, no matter how many times I bring it up, I just call them Mechan. So now, worst case scenario for Nova Hellkite, I can get the Comet Crawler off the board so they don't get the chump with it. It's a decent synergy with our Cryo Stasis thing. Or Cryo Shatter. Alright, yeah, they're just holding up the Grav Kill here. Fair. So they tap out to Grav Kill Hellkite and still take 4. Seems fine by me. We have no alternate lines. Plunge for their next blocker, keep hitting for 4 a turn. If I hit them for 4 a turn, 2 more turns, they're dead. Because they're going to 8 right now. Oh, cut propulsion. Same difference. Yeah, if they play like 1 blocker and then we plunge it, it's our plan to win here. 2-turn lethal. Shoot. It's a removal spell. I don't want to see that. Alright, well, I should probably kill Team Leader, but maybe they just kill the Red Tiger Mechan here. No removal. Oh god. It can't be a board wipe. They only have 6. They need 7 for the cheapest one that doesn't cost life in their color pair. Elegy Acolyte is the best rare in sealed in the whole set, but it's not enough on this board. Thanks to Orbital Plunge. I guess it is enough on the board because the lifelink probably. No, it's exactly not enough on board, but we still removal spell to be safe because if I attacked in there and then they had instant speed removal for 2, like, we hard lose because of the lifelink. Ooh. Yeah, could you imagine if I didn't go for the plunge there and then I attacked and they had the 1 on a red deal 3 and then they kill Team Leader, they block our 3/3 with a 4/4 lifelink and take 1? That would have been miserable. Luckily, that is not the case. And so we've gotten a 7-win run with our very fun little blue-red artifacts deck here. Make it into day number 2 of this Arena Open with a sick little archetype, a very fun deck. And hopefully we can continue on during day 2 with some more fun stuff. Yeah, very happy with today. Obviously, there were some misplays there. I think I caught most of them and brought them up by the end of the game, but I'm sure there were some other ones somewhere. There's the huge one with the Melded Moxite. Just a lack of experience with that card for sure. But as far as deciding to go for this deck, just to have like fun with the archetype, I think it was also just the right spot to be in this sealed pool. There's a distinct lack of interaction here, and we could really feel that during the games. 1 Cryo Shatter, 1 Orbital Plunge. A lot of those games that were going pretty poorly for us were because we just had very little interaction. But the curve is really, really quick. There's huge synergy for Pinnacle Emissary with 15 artifacts in here, and we've got 2 copies of it, so that makes that a really consistent, really scary card. It also plays incredibly well with the Team Leader. Team Leader was a great, great pickup for this deck. And then, of course, the one best rare in our sealed pool kind of card, Nova Hellkite. Really happy I decided to go nice and low curve with it and did not decide to keep the 8 mana Battleship in there to go with our Zookeeper Mechans for ramp, because I think the majority of those games ended before we had 8 mana. And this could have been pretty sketchy for us. Yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Great deck here. I think we will absolutely take that. That is a 7-win run, and that is going to end the Arena Open Day 1. I will officially see you all tomorrow for the Arena Open Day 2 Draft number 1. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe. Tell the YouTube algorithm to send me some more in the recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.